The rain had already soaked the asphalt by the time Lieutenant Commander Ethan Brooks stepped out of the black SUV. He closed the door behind him, straightened his jacket, and took a slow breath. He hadn't been back on this base in years. Not since the mission that left more scars than he ever admitted. The guard at the gate nodded, scanning his ID. "Welcome back, sir." Ethan gave a tight smile. Good to be back. It wasn't. But he wasn't here for nostalgia. He had been ordered to assist with a joint investigation regarding supply chain issues on training equipment. Nothing dangerous, nothing tactical, just bureaucracy. Not exactly the kind of assignment a Navy SEAL expected, but when command called, he followed. Inside the administrative building, fluorescent lights buzzed, and the halls smelled faintly of machine oil and old paperwork. Ethan walked toward the office listed on the briefing file. When he knocked, a woman's voice answered, "Come in." He opened the door and froze for half a second. Behind the desk sat a woman in a crisp navy blue suit, her blonde hair tied neatly, posture sharp, eyes sharper. She looked up at him with a confidence that suggested she wasn't easily impressed. "Lieutenant Commander Brooks," she said. "I'm Agent Mira Collins. I'll be leading this review." He stepped forward and shook her hand. Firm grip, controlled, professional. "I thought I'd be working with a logistics officer," Ethan said. "You are. Just one who transferred to federal oversight 2 years ago." She closed the folder on her desk. "I assume you've read the preliminary report." "I have," he said. "Missing inventory. Faulty records. Nothing complicated. That's what we're supposed to believe." Mira stood, gathering a tablet and a notepad. "But I prefer to see things myself." "First stop, Supply Depot." He followed her out. She walked fast, heels tapping with purpose, as if she had no time for small talk. They only spoke once they reached the depot. Inside, the air was cool and smelled of metal containers, dust, and long storage. Workers were sorting crates, checking serial tags, scanning codes. Mira approached the senior clerk, a tall guy named Daniel Harris. "Morning," she said. "We'll need access to all Class 4 and V storage logs from the last 8 months." Daniel blinked. "All of them? That'll take some time." "We have time," Mira said calmly. "Start with the crates that showed discrepancies." As Daniel walked off, Ethan leaned slightly closer. "You think someone's stealing equipment? Smuggling it out?" "I don't assume anything yet," Mira replied, eyes scanning the facility. "But something here doesn't add up." Ethan nodded. "Fair enough." They spent nearly an hour reviewing logs, scanning crates, comparing serial numbers. But nothing felt unusual to Ethan, until Mira stopped beside one particular crate, her brows pulling together. "This one was marked as inspected last month," she said, "but the seal hasn't been replaced." Somewhere behind them, a voice called out, "Ma'am, we might have a problem with the chain of custody signatures." Mira shot Ethan a quick glance. "Let's check." They walked to a workstation where Daniel laid out several forms. "These initials don't match the roster," he explained. "Whoever signed this wasn't on duty that day." Ethan folded his arms. "So we're dealing with forged signatures." "It looks like it," Mira agreed. "But the question is why?" Before they could discuss it further, another officer approached and whispered something into Daniel's ear. Daniel went pale. "What is it?" Mira asked. "There's someone asking for you," he said nervously. "At the front office." Myra's expression tensed. "Who?" He hesitated. "Commander Levine." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Levine? He's still here." "Apparently," Daniel said. "And he's waiting." Ethan exchanged a look with Mira. They both knew Levine's reputation. Not bad, not corrupt, just stubborn, loud, and extremely protective of his base. When they entered the office, Commander Jacob Levine stood there with arms crossed, brows furrowed in annoyance. He was in his late 40s, muscular build, a man who had spent years training recruits and running operations. "Agent Collins," he said sharply. "Lieutenant Commander Brooks. I wasn't told about this review." "We were instructed not to compromise objectivity," Mira said calmly. Levine snorted. "Objectivity? This place runs clean. These people work hard. And I won't have outsiders digging around like we're criminals." Ethan stepped forward, voice steady but respectful. "Nobody's accusing anyone, sir. We're just investigating irregularities." Levine's gaze shifted to Ethan. "Brooks, You were one of the best we had. Didn't think you'd be helping pencil pushers nitpick my records. With all due respect, Ethan replied, this isn't about paperwork. If something's wrong here, you want to know. Levine didn't look convinced, but he kept quiet. Mira opened a folder. Commander, we found mismatched signatures, unsealed crates, and missing item logs. Until those discrepancies are explained, the review continues. Levine's jaw tightened. Fine, but if you're going to check every corner of my base, you'll follow my security protocols. That's acceptable, Mira said. He pointed at Ethan. And you. Regulation states that outside personnel must remove any non-standard gear when entering the restricted archives. Ethan blinked. Non-standard gear? I'm not carrying any. Levine pointed to Ethan's jacket. That's tactical-grade fabric, not permitted beyond the secondary checkpoint. Ethan raised an eyebrow. It's just a jacket. Rules are rules, Levine replied smugly. Take off. Mira opened her mouth as if to intervene, but Ethan just smirked. Slowly, very slowly. It was the kind of smirk that made even Mira tilt her head slightly, curious. You're sure about that order, sir? Ethan asked. Levine folded his arms. Take off your uniform jacket, Lieutenant Commander. Ethan chuckled under his breath. You just told a Navy SEAL to strip. Mira pressed her lips together, trying not to laugh. Levine's eyes widened slightly, maybe realizing how his words sounded, but he didn't back down. I said remove the jacket. Ethan shrugged. Your base, your rules. He unzipped the jacket and took it off, revealing his gray regulation t-shirt underneath. Several nearby officers paused their work, pretending not to stare. SEAL training left its mark, and Ethan was built like it. Levine cleared his throat awkwardly. Put in the locker and follow me. Mira leaned toward Ethan as they walked. You enjoyed that. He kept a straight face. A little. They followed Levine to the restricted archives, a room filled with secure cabinets, digital terminals, and rows of binders that looked older than most recruits. Mira walked to the logs first, Ethan scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, Mira paused. Commander, why are there manual entries in this digital logbook? Levine frowned. There shouldn't be. Ethan pointed at the screen. Look at the timestamp. Someone disabled the digital auto log and switched to manual mode for about 12 minutes. Mira tapped the command history. Here. It was done using an admin-level key. Levine shook his head. Only 3 people have those keys. Myself, the deputy officer, and Chief Burrows. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Where's Burrows now? In training sector C, Levine replied. But I doubt. Before he finished, the lights flickered. All 3 looked up. Ethan's instincts kicked in. Flickering lights could mean nothing or something. Power fluctuation? Mira asked. Levine activated the intercom. Control room, report. No response. The lights flickered again. Ethan spoke softly. Could be a system test, or someone messing with the circuits. Mira stepped back from the terminal. Either way, we need to check it. They exited the archives and headed toward the control room. When they arrived, the door was slightly open. Levine's voice dropped. This should be locked. Ethan gently pushed the door. Inside, the room looked untouched, monitors glowing, data streams running. But one chair was turned away. Mira approached it carefully. Hello? Anyone here? No answer. Ethan stepped forward, spinning the chair around. IT was empty, and one of the control panels had been opened, wires exposed. Mira kneeling beside it. Someone tried to access the internal power grid. Levine muttered. Who would even know how to do that? Ethan found a small metallic tool on the floor. He lifted it. This is a specialized voltage bypass pick, not standard issue. Mira examined it. Then someone brought it from outside. Before they could analyze further, a voice came from behind. That's enough. They turned to find a man in uniform, early 30s, buzz-cut hair, standing with a tight expression. Chief Aaron Burrows. Levine stepped forward. Burrows, what is going on? Did you authorize anyone into this room? Burrows looked tense. Too tense. I was told there would be a systems test, he said nervously. I thought you knew. Myra's eyes sharpened. Who told you? Burrows swallowed. I can't remember the name. One of the new tech guys. Ethan's instincts told him the man was lying. Chief, Your signature appears on logs during the manual override earlier. Care to explain that? Burroughs took a step back. I don't know anything about that. His hand twitched toward his pocket. Ethan reacted instantly, grabbing Burroughs' wrist before he could pull anything out. The two struggled briefly, but Ethan locked his arm and pinned him to the wall. What's in the pocket? Ethan demanded. Burroughs stammered. Nothing. It's just... Mira reached in and pulled out a small drive. Black. Unmarked. Levine stared in disbelief. Burroughs, what have you done? Burroughs shut his eyes like someone who finally realized he was cornered. It's not what you think. Mira held the drive up. Then explain. Burroughs exhaled shakily. I wasn't stealing anything. I was protecting someone. Mira exchanged a look with Ethan. Protecting who? Burroughs hesitated. Then he spoke. My brother. He applied for a civilian contractor position. Someone told me if I helped them modify inventory records, they'd make sure he got hired. I didn't think it was serious. I didn't think it involved anything illegal. Myra's voice remained calm, but firm. Who approached you? Burroughs shook his head. I never saw his real ID. He said he was performing oversight work. I thought he was with logistics. Ethan stepped back. What did he want you to hide? Burroughs whispered, small things at first. Minor discrepancies, but then equipment removal logs. He said they were reallocations. Mira looked at the drive. This probably contains the data he wanted you to extract. Burroughs looked defeated. I never meant to compromise the base. I swear, I was just scared for my brother. Levine sank into a chair, rubbing his forehead. You should have come to me. We could have reported this. Burroughs lowered his head. I thought I could handle it. Mira pocketed the drive. We need to find the outsider who contacted you. Do you have any communication logs? Messages? Anything? Burroughs nodded slowly. My phone. He handed it over. Mira scrolled through messages. Most were normal, until she reached a chat labeled consultant. Ethan leaned over her shoulder. The messages were professional sounding but vague. Instructions, meeting times, requests for system access. No name. No photo. Mira frowned. This guy covered his tracks. Ethan pointed to a timestamp. Look, their last message was 20 minutes ago. The message read, final pickup today. Ensure archives are prepared. Mira looked up. He's still on base. Levine straightened. Let's seal the perimeter. They moved quickly. Barracks, maintenance areas, and vehicle lots were checked. Teams were deployed. But the man seemed to have vanished. Until Ethan spotted something but a service cart parked near the south gate. But no service crew in sight that he approached silently. Mira followed. Inside the cart storage compartment was a maintenance uniform. Too new, tags still stiff, and beneath it a backpack. Mira opened it. Tools. Documents. Access cards. This is our guy's kit. Ethan scanned the area. If he abandoned this, he's running. They searched outward, sweeping the surrounding area. Just as they passed the training grounds, Ethan saw movement near the obstacle course, a figure sprinting. Got him. Ethan yelled. He took off running. The man darted across the field, weaving between barriers. Ethan closed the distance quickly, seal conditioning leaving little room for escape. Mira wasn't far behind, radioing security as she ran. The suspect glanced back, panic in his eyes, and tripped over a rope line. Ethan tackled him before he could get up. The man struggled, but one twist of the arm and he was immobilized. Mira arrived, panting slightly. You're under investigation for unauthorized access and attempted data theft, she said, cuffing him. The man glared. You don't understand. Ethan hauled him to his feet, then started talking. But the man just shook his head. It doesn't matter now. They brought him back to the command office for questioning. Hours passed. The man refused to give a name, refused to identify who he worked for, refused to explain what he wanted with the data. Finally, Mira stood. We'll transfer him to federal custody. They'll get answers. Levine looked exhausted but relieved. This base owes you both. Ethan put his jacket back on now that the restriction didn't apply. Levine smirked. Next time, Levine said, I'll choose my words more carefully before telling SEAL to strip. Ethan laughed. Probably a good idea. As Mira walked him outside, the rain had finally stopped. The clouds were starting to break, letting through streaks of golden sunset. Not bad work today, she said. You too, Ethan replied. Even if your partner choices could use improvement. She raised an eyebrow. Are you calling yourself a bad partner? Not me, he said. Burrows. Mira chuckled softly. We'll clean up the system. The rest is solvable. Ethan looked at her for a moment, considering the day, the absurd order to strip, the chase, the confession, the mystery still unsolved. You know, he said, for a logistics review, this turned out to be pretty eventful. Most things turn eventful when a Navy SEAL is involved, she replied, that he smirked. Can't argue with that. A transport vehicle pulled up for her. She opened the door, then looked back at him. Ethan, yeah. When this investigation goes public, don't forget to share your side. People need to hear real stories. The truth behind the uniform. He nodded. Maybe I will. She smiled, climbed in, and the vehicle drove off. Ethan stood there a moment longer, the breeze cool against his face, before turning back toward the administrative building. As he walked, he pulled out his phone, and he knew there were people out there who appreciated stories like this. Real stories, raw moments from military life, the kind nobody hears unless someone chooses to tell them. He looked at the camera and said quietly, and if you're watching this on the channel, Military and Truth Stories, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There are plenty more stories where this came from. He pocketed the phone and walked off, the last glow of sunset reflecting off the wet pavement. Another mission complete. Another truth uncovered. And another reminder that sometimes the most unexpected order, like being told to take off your uniform, leads to uncovering something far bigger.